Can you find somebody that was right about this Bucs team? Anywhere. Did anybody think the Bucs were going to win the NFC South? I mean, I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but you got to like where you put yourself in that division. I'm watching this game, y'all's game, the Bucs game, and it's like a shootout. It's like a playoff atmosphere game. Both offenses look great in the second half. It's like, who's going to get a stop? The quality of football being played on that TV was infinitely higher than the quality of football I was watching played in Carolina in a driving rainstorm. Desmond Ridder doing what Desmond Ridder does. I don't know who the Saints are week to week. They don't have an identity. Excuse me for jumping out of the gym, but last week I asked this question: which quarterback do you trust in the NFC South the most? Because really you're answering the question, who do you think wins the NFC South? And with Desmond Ridder snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, so to speak, something he does so well on one TV, and Baker Mayfield outlasting everybody's favorite quarterback this month, Jordan Love, in a primetime spot, I think the answer is Baker Mayfield. And for a guy that I didn't think was going to play significant football before or after Sean McVay picked him up late last season, he looked good in some spots with Sean McVay, and people were like, okay, maybe he's not dead. I thought the guy was dead, dude. He has resurrected his career, and if he doesn't play another down after this season in Tampa, if he's not the guy in the future in Tampa, he might not be the perfect solution anywhere in the future, but he's perfect for this football team, and he should be proud of the way he's played this year. And today was a perfect example of that. I did not think they'd be here. I didn't think they'd be here when they started 3-1. Whatever it was, I didn't think they'd be here over that month stretch. I was like, stick a fork in them. I'll admit that. I didn't think they were going to be able to get back on the horse. But maybe what I underestimated during that losing streak, where they got blanked down at Tampa, where they lose by a field goal down at Tampa to Detroit, they lose by a field goal to Atlanta in what felt like a big division game, and then like the game that you felt like, in the middle of the season, you're like, how many must wins can we have? Another must-win goes the other way, and you're the victim on C.J. Stroud Day, because I don't care who he was playing, 39-37. You had to feel like when you went in the locker room after that game, this thing's over. This just isn't our year. And I want to give credit to Todd Bowles, who my buddy Stanford Steve said 6 weeks ago should be, he said it on Greenlight, you can go look it up. He said, Todd Bowles should be the coach of the year. And I was like, what? A fucking guy must have the script, because he's coached his way into the conversation. I'm not going to say he's going to win the award, but if Tampa Bay wins 10 games with Baker Mayfield, it's got to be one of the biggest stories of this NFL season. Now they have some games, yet that they have to win, but I loved what I saw today, and I underestimated the coaching staff. Dave Canales done a great job. I thought with no run game 6 weeks ago, I was like, this team's cooked. They have a run game now, just popped up overnight over the last month. And, coming into Green Bay, you're thinking, hey, if you can take advantage of that part of it, a la New York, the Giants last week, if you can take care of this part of it, you're going to be in the game. But they just aired it out. And part of the reason I don't want to jump out of the gym on the offense for Tampa and say it's one of the best performances of the season is because it's against the Packers. It's against Joe Barry's group, who every week it seems like there's something they can't get fixed in game, and they just allow it to continue to happen, like DeVito with his legs, like DeVito in the read option. Like countless games this year when you watch the Packers, you are confounded by their defensive scheme. And if you're a Packers fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And today, the middle of the field absolutely killed them in the passing game. Down the seams, second half, conversions. And that's another thing about this team. You talk about the coaching staff. You talk about the adjustments they've made. The reason you might trust this team as well is because it's easy to forget there are a lot of guys on this team that have been there, that have been in these games. You know why I love the NFL? We don't need a play-in tournament. The whole last month of the season is a play-in tournament for everyone involved. There's a few teams like Carolina. They're not trying to play in. They're trying to mess it up for somebody in division, and they did that today. But for teams like the Packers and like the Bucs, everything is on the line. And your playoff chances can go up to 75% if you're the Bucs and down to 25% if you're Jordan Love and the Packers. And Jordan Love played fine for most of the game. But the difference between that team and the Tampa team is these guys have been here, including the guys outside. And as much as I love Dontavian Wicks. I like Reed. You know, I want to see more out of Watson. You know, I love Dobbs. The more experienced group, including the quarterback, won the game today. You know, when it had to be a play not made by somebody named Mike Evans, those guys continually stepped up. The touchdown to Moore was a beautiful throw and a better play, going in for the touchdown and putting them up 14 in a game where that was all they needed to stay out ahead of these guys because Green Bay couldn't get a stop. That was an enormous play in the game. And from that point, with about 8 minutes to go, you knew probably the Bucs spot. And so those guys making plays, guys not named Mike Evans, fantastic. Absolutely awesome. And if you're Dallas and if you're Philly, you're Dallas, you're getting your ankles taped, you're getting ready to play Buffalo, you're watching that game on TV, and you're thinking, damn, it would suck to go down there and have to play a playoff game. I think we're better, but that would suck. And it's the same thing for the Eagles, who the last time they looked human before this stretch was in Tampa in a wild card round game where they got blanked offensively, absolutely blanked. And the way they're playing right now, you don't want to go on the road to play a hot team who all that's standing between them and the playoffs right now is probably that game in New Orleans at the end of the season. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. And I trust Tampa in this spot because they kind of own New Orleans. So here I am jumping out of the gym for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, something I did not think I'd be doing Christmas week 2023, but it's awesome. It's awesome. Big fan of what they've done down there and a big fan of what Baker's done because a couple years ago on Christmas, he went to Green Bay. You know what he did? He threw 4 picks in a loss for the Browns. You don't think he remembers that? I know it's not Christmas today, but maybe it came a little early for Baker Mayfield. Awesome. Awesome. Great job. Great job, Bucs.